Holy smokes, we are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this rebel outpost, this college football rebel outpost with a donation. Hit the $ where you make a comment, and I'll get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio. Everybody. And that includes the Badgers and the Hawkeyes and the Boilermakers and the Utes and the Mountaineers, the Gators and everybody in between. Everybody is welcome into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls later in the show. Welcome April 1st. No. Nothing that I talk about is April 1st, Fool's Day. Nuh-uh, I do not do that on this show. We're going to be covering it all here at College Football Peek Around the Corner. We're going to be talking about Jake Retzlaff. His dream. He's aiming big. Now, of course, the team goals are most important. The team goals are most important for Jake Retzlaff. BYU get into that Big 12 championship game and win it this year. Go to the playoffs. But he's also got a goal to to get invited to the Heisman ceremony, New York City. Jake Retzlaff is dreaming big, baby. We're going to be going through a small article, BYU on Jake Retzlaff. And you know, I root for that kid. I talked about him during the off season last year when he was battling for the QB1 job in Provo. We talked about his past. We talked about him. He went to a junior college. Then he went to somewhere else. The big long story about it. So I'm rooting for the kid. And if he says his goal, he's got all those team goals, but if he's got a goal to get to the Heisman ceremony, the article goes through what does he have to do next. In his last year of college eligibility, what does Jake Retzlaff have to do to elevate himself to the next level? It goes through that as well. And one of those is completion percentage, right? He can't just get hot in the fourth quarter on that last drive. He's got to be more consistent, more accurate, not so loosey-goosey. Sometimes he's going to have to throw the ball away. He doesn't want to throw that interception like he does a little bit too often. But the kid's a winner. And if he can elevate his play just a little bit more, who knows? Who knows? We're going to be talking about a difficult injury for the Indiana Hoosiers in their spring football camp. A transfer that I thought maybe was going to pop, could pop, for Curt Cignetti. A player that would help out Fernando Mendoza, the new quarterback transfer from California. Somebody that I thought was going to be Fernando's one of his top targets. We're going to be going through that. And then we're going to be talking about a few other things. But John Canzano, put out his top 3 tiers of what he believed were the Pac-12 expansion candidates. Now, I've got nothing against Canzano. He did, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think he directed his carnival barker at me. Maybe not, but I think so. Maybe not. But, I think he got bamboozled by sources during the Pac-12 media negotiations. And that can happen. It can happen to me. It can happen to anybody. And I think he got bamboozled. And I think, for the most part, I think he's got this correct from what I have been told. I'm going to have a little bit of a difference with Canzano. Just a little bit of a difference. Now, I have not been talking about Pac-12 expansion at all. Haven't touched it for months. And you better believe that I have DMs. People are wondering, why don't you even, what are you doing, Greg? Great. Why don't you talk about this? This is what people are interested in. What are you doing? And I have kindly And probably not to everybody, and I apologize. It's difficult for me to get back to everybody on everything. But my simple and gentle answer, and hopefully kind answer, and this is the same answer I've given on this YouTube channel. The reason I haven't been talking about it is because we haven't been given any information. Now, we could speculate on it a little bit. You all have speculated on it a little bit. But I haven't received anything. Until now. I have received some information. And it lines up pretty good with what everyone else out there is saying. The consensus. In this case, I think the consensus is pretty good, pretty correct. But I'm going to let you guys know what I've been just told about this. And I'm going to use Canzano's Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 candidates that he just named. I'm going to use that as a backdrop. And I'm going to let you know what we've been told here at Peek Around the Corner. There is one, now, Canzano rates the Pac-12 candidates into his tiers, and I think what he's doing, and I would agree with him. I do the same thing. He's not putting the schools up in the Tier 1. He doesn't rank the tiers by the most valuable schools, the most valuable athletic departments, the most valuable institutions for the Pac-12. He's ranking them in, this is who he believes that the Pac-12 might get, and then sprinkles in, and they're pretty valuable. Like, this would be the top targets that they can still possibly get. And I would do the same thing. It's how I do the hot board, coach hot boards. It's like the top candidate that they still think they got a shot and that they want. Same thing here with the Pac-12 expansion candidates. So I'm going to let you know what I think about Canzano thoughts on this, his reporting. And I'm going to let you know what we've had in the latest. Well, actually, what we've been just told on this. And it's the first bit of information that I've been given forever. I mean, I have not been talking about it. And it's not by accident. Like, we have not received any good, credible information for months. And sure enough, the Pac-12 hasn't expanded with that 8th full member for months. But now we are hearing something. So buckle up, brace for impact. We believe there is one candidate, one school out there that is pretty locked in. That seems to fit every single scenario, and I think they're locked in. We believe that they are locked in. One candidate stands above all else. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking football. BYU, what's going on in spring football? Did you hear about the 16-year-old? Have you heard about the 16-year-old defensive back, safety in high school, come out as a 4-star, true freshman, Syracuse? He might be starting in the secondary this year. Now, he's going to have his 17th birthday pretty soon. Have you heard about him? The last live show, we talked about Gideon Davidson, the running back who's showing a lot of smoke for Clemson. Today we're going to be talking about an orange, Syracuse orange secondary player. A lot of hype, a lot of steam coming out of Syracuse, New York. I'm glad you're with us. We're going to do a roll call, and then we're going to hit our live show, and we'll get to your phone calls later. Our web is in the house. Holy smokes. Still Austin. PATC, let's go. Go Utes. Mr. Mountaineer. Daniel Gygax. I have caught a couple of the Rich Rodriguez press conferences. You know, when he talks to the media after practice. A little bit here, a little bit there. He's pretty fun to listen to. He's a little bit cranky. He's always talking about how West Virginia don't have a whole lot of starters coming back from last year. He loves his quarterback room. Rich Rodriguez loves his quarterback room. He likes a couple of those dudes. But it's fun to watch Rich Rodriguez back in Morgantown. Cornhuskers, Skaven, yes. Buckeye, Caleb Ramirez, Chef Maul is in the house. CFB Plus. I think Texas State to the Pac-12 is inevitable at this point. Excuse me. Matt Snuck is here. Stormy Cyclone. Kay Struthers, time to PATC. Stormy Cyclone, peek at the cold. Today there was, and I put it on my X account, made a post on it. Today there was snowflakes coming down in Minnesota as the size of an SUV. They were this big. Okay, maybe this big. The snowflakes were unbelievably big. Holy smokes. Joseph Lindley is in the house. Tumasta, not UNLV. Xavier Wolf. Oh, this cold. I'm sorry, guys. Dogs and Dubs is in the house. Stephen Vitt, The Observer. Stephen McNeely. Deadeye. Yo Greg is in the house. Day One Rob, San Diego State, the Aztecs. Big Gun Shop, Charlie Atwood, Punt, the Almighty Finn. I hope today the show isn't that Florida State has to join the Pac-12. No, that's not what we're going to be doing. Carla Jenkins, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Donnie McNerney, Jay Chapman. The quarterback room is deep. Daniel Gygax. And sometimes, unfortunately, you need a deep quarterback room. Unfortunately. Mr. Fresno State Bulldog, Robert Perez, is in the PATC studio. His family, amongst his family members, Go Black 45. Looks like Sacramento State spent a lot of money for nothing. I don't know about that. We shall see. We shall see. I would not close the door on that. Maybe Go Black 45 knows something, though. Call me David. No April Fools. No April Fools. We don't do that on this show. Nope. Bill G is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Bill G, let's get going here. Let's start off the show. BYU, let me put a cough drop in my mouth. Universe Sports. BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff. I want to be at the Heisman ceremony. Well, so do I. Somebody give me a ticket because I'm not going to make it as a player. I tell you that. Somebody give me a ticket. Jake Retzlaff, he's got big dreams. BYU football wrapped up a spring practice last week and held a final media availability on Monday at the Student Athlete Building on campus. During star quarterback Jake Retzlaff interview, he made one comment that stood out among the rest. I want to be at the Heisman ceremony, he said. I think I am the caliber of a player that can be there. Jake Retzlaff, holy smokes. You gotta love the confidence. You gotta love the confidence. Shedeur Sanders had that last year. Sometimes you just gotta lead with your confidence. I want to be at the Heisman ceremony, Jake Retzlaff. I think I am the caliber of player that can be there. Retzlaff, who had no Division I offers coming out of high school, started his collegiate career at Golden West College before transferring to Riverside City College, where he became the nation's best JUCO quarterback prospect. And I remember the story, man. I believe he thought he was going to get offers, and then he did not get an offer to Riverside City College. So the first year he played at Golden West College, and then Riverside City saw him. He played against Riverside. They brought him over in his second year. This is where Jake Retzlaff came from, guys. This is where he has battled from the bottom all the way to the top. Big 12, BYU, fantastic 11-2 season last year. Holy smokes. Last season, Retzlaff broke out. He broke out big time as BYU's full-time starter en route to 11-2 season that saw the quarterback gain national praise. With the precedent set last season, Retzlaff now has lofty expectations for 2025. I want to throw for over 30 touchdowns in single-digit interceptions. I think the single digit is pretty important. Retzlaff, he's a gunslinger. He likes to take chances. He's going to have to pull back a little bit, check down a little bit, be more consistent early in the game. I want to throw for 30 touchdowns in single-digit interceptions. Raising his completion percentage is also an area of focus for Retzlaff and offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. Last season, Retzlaff only completed 57.9% of his passes, a number that every quarterback would note needs significant improvement. That needs to take a big jump. No question about it. As far as the team goes, Retzlaff has made it clear that a national championship, BYU Cougars 2025, that a national championship is on everyone's mind. Hitting that benchmark starts with the quarterback. I can't just go tell somebody to go watch extra film and hit extra workouts when I'm not doing something like that, Retzlaff said. Even the small things are just as big for BYU's outright leader. Our locker room right now should be clean, Retzlaff said. If I go down there right now and it should be clean, if not, then we're having conversations. Everything from your locker to the way your stuff is all kept in order to your schoolwork is the standard. When you talk about keeping that standard, the hardest part is that you are the standard, Retzlaff added. And finally, in this article, after the semester ends at the end of April, Retzlaff will go back to California to work out with former Cougar quarterback and current quarterback trainer John Beck. According to Retzlaff, the standard is now set. It will be up to him, to make sure it is met. Jake Retzlaff has high expectations for 2025. He's talking about national championship, of course, Big 12 championship. BYU is a consensus top 4, top 5 pick in the Big 12 going into the season. And he believes he is the caliber of player to get to the Heisman ceremony. Now, the odds are against him. The odds are pretty much against any player, right? Only 3, 4, 5 people are invited to the Heisman ceremony. Everything's got to go just right. You got to be able to stay injury-free. Your team's got to be really good. You got to have big moments in the biggest games. And then you got to have the exposure. People got to talk about you. Look, if Jake Retzlaff can throw 30-some touchdowns, keep the interceptions single digits, and have that completion percentage go up big time. And I'm talking 57% up into the high 60s at least. Jake Retzlaff might get to the Heisman ceremony. Who knows? If BYU rattles off for an 11-1 season, if he's making those game-winning plays like he did last year, remember that last drive, heroic drive against Utah in the Holy War? If he does all of that, again and plays consistent football, checking it down, completing passes, in the first 3 quarters of these games, Jake Retzlaff, high expectations, and he might just be able to meet them. He's a long shot. He's a long shot to get to the Heisman ceremony, but he's a live shot. Don't count that young man out. He's a battler. He is a battler. Okay, let's go to here. We do have an injury. Talking about injuries. Zach Browning. Kirk Cignetti begins his morning press conference today by saying that Michigan transfer wide receiver Tyler Morris has suffered a non-contact injury that will require surgery and keep him out for the entire season. I was looking forward to Tyler Morris playing for Indiana, and I'll tell you why. Tyler Morris did not get a whole lot. He's a wide receiver. He did not get a whole lot of playing time first couple of years at Michigan. Last year, he got some he got some snaps. I think he had something like 25, 30 catches, somewhere around there. And he's got talent. The kid's got talent. He just needs an opportunity. Now, Tyler Morris could not get into, he could not get the reps. He could not get the playing time when like a J.J. McCarthy was there. Last year, Tyler Morris was ready to go, but they didn't have a quarterback who could complete downfield passes. So this year, he transfers, and you can't blame him. He goes to Indiana. You cannot blame him for going to Indiana. Fernando Mendoza transfers from California to Indiana. Look at the season Indiana had last year. They went to the college football playoffs. They're going to throw the ball. So Tyler Morris is all ready to go, and he gets an injury. Non-contact. I don't want to it's probably an ACL, MCL, and non-contact injury, surgery, out for the year. Hopefully it's not an Achilles, but whatever it is, I feel bad for the kid. And again, these injuries in spring camp, in August camp, they happen. They're going to happen. It's devastating for the young man, and hopefully for Tyler Morris, it's a minor step back for a major comeback next year with Indiana. So I wanted to point that out. Injuries are a concern, and they're always right around the corner. You don't have to be playing football games to get injuries. You get injuries all the time in camp, just working out. We've got Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports. The House Ed and Workforce Committee announces that it will hold a congressional hearing on college sports next Tuesday. The hearing will come a day after the House settlement hearing in California and a day before the hundreds of college leaders are expected to lobby on the Hill. So, April 7th, on Monday, is the House versus NCAA hearing in front of Judge Wilkins. On Tuesday, April 8th, there's going to be this hearing on NLRB student athletes and the future of college sports. Then on Wednesday next week, there is going to be where all those athletic directors and who knows, hundreds of supposed college leaders are going to be expected to lobby on the Hill. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we already have a whole lot of action going on. Buckle up, brace for impact. I will say this. Somebody provided me a link to the Monday House versus NCAA hearing. And if it works out with my schedule, I very well might do a live stream of the House versus NCAA hearing here at College Football Peek Around the Corner. So I will give more information later this week. Hopefully I can schedule that in for Monday. Monday, April 7th. I think I'm going to be able to cover it live. I do not know for sure. So we got a lot of things going on in the month of April. Syracuse head coach Fran Brown did not give hints on his starting quarterback, but suggested the 16-year-old, Demetrius Samuel Jr., is the likely starter at one corner. He also said he play two ways. Wild. We cover everything in college football here at Peek Around the Corner. Everything, because we love everything. We love the stories that are coming out of spring football camp. We talked about Gideon Davidson, the running back out of Clemson, the freshman. He's lighting it up. He is lighting it up. It reminds me of all the stories coming out of Jeremiah Smith in Columbus of last year. Gideon Davidson, remember the name. Well, here is another name. Demetrius Samuel Jr., he's 16 years old. Now, he's soon to be 17. In fact, there's a video out there that came out yesterday of I did not catch who it was, a player for Syracuse on the practice field. They were interviewing him after practice, and he was saying that, this Samuel, he's a player. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. He's a player. It's remarkable of what he's doing at age 16. It's remarkable. That's what this veteran player for the Syracuse Orange was saying. He said, Demetrius Samuel asked everybody, or asked him and a few other people, like, so what are we going to do for my birthday that's coming up? And this player said, well, it's your 17th birthday, man. I mean, there's not much you can do. So anyways, all I'm saying, look, there's a whole lot. This kid is already creating a myth about him. Demetrius Samuel Jr., he was a 4-star. He played safety in high school. He's going to be a corner. And he could be playing both ways as a 17-year-old true freshman. Holy smokes. I hope they don't play him too many snaps. I mean, this kid is good. Look, wow. Anyways, now Call Me David in the chat room is saying, how bad is your team if you have to start a 16-year-old? You could look at it that way. You could. I think Syracuse is going to take a step back, couple steps back this year. But I don't know, maybe, look, the guys on the team are saying, the reporters, everyone's saying this kid he is showing it up, baby. He's lights out in practice. And maybe, look, I don't know. We don't know, right? We don't know what his NIL deal. He was a 4-star out of Florida. I believe he's out of Florida. Somebody looked that up. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But to play him two ways, you gotta limit his snaps. Right? You gotta limit his snaps. Foodie Memphis, don't AAC schools have until today to try to move out of the conference by 26? Yes. Because of you're talking about the 27th month notice. If they file, I think it could have been even yesterday. It's either today or yesterday. I will get to that. I'm sort of, yes, there's a 27-month notice of withdrawal, and if you do it inside of that, then you got to pay even more, and so I will get to that, Foodie Memphis, but you are correct. Hummus Hero playing a 16-year-old both ways. This seems like it violates child labor laws. Holy smokes. Okay, I appreciate y'all joining us. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button and smash the like button if you like our content. When you subscribe, make sure you turn on your notifications because we can come on live at any time. Anytime we can come on live twice a day, 3 times a day. We've done it before covering breaking news. So make sure you have your notifications turned all the way up. Let's get to the Pac-12. D1 Ticka. It's a really good follow on X. JohnCasano.com expects the Pac-12 to have its media rights deal finished in the next couple of weeks. So, J.D. Wicker, the athletic director of San Diego State, said the previous month he thought this information would come out by the end of March. John Casano is saying that the media rights deal should finish up in the next couple of weeks. But adds, if April 15 arrives and there is no deal announced, I'll start to ask more pressing questions. On the expansion front, the list of schools hasn't changed. Again, John Casano. But some tiers are becoming clear within the list. For example, I think the top 3 candidates are obvious, and any of them could come as a standalone. Beyond that, there are a few schools, tier 2 and 3, that would only be considered by the Pac-12 if they come in conjunction with some others. Tier 1, not in order, not in any order. UNLV, Memphis, Texas State. That gets back to our title screen. Tier 1 candidates, UNLV, Texas State Bobcats, Memphis. According to John Casano, Tier 1, UNLV, Memphis, Texas State. Tier 2, Tulane, UTSA. Tier 3, Nevada, Rice, South Florida, North Texas. Casano also shares a dirty little secret that when San Diego State and SMU were on standby and ready to enter the Pac-12 in 23, they were both willing to come in at zero media rights distribution in the first year. Casano suspects that Texas State would be willing to do the same with the Pac-12, given that they'd be stepping into a conference that would distribute more in postseason revenue. Theoretically, stepping into a conference that would distribute more in postseason revenue, football and basketball. A willingness to take a zero distribution pushes Texas State up the list of expansion candidates in my mind. I still value geography. John Casano. I had one Pac-12 athletic director tell me he wasn't interested in shipping athletes in Olympic sports to multiple time zones. That recent comment cooled me on South Florida, Memphis, and Tulane possibilities. But the possibility of adding them for football and basketball only could address that concern. Asked whether the Mountain West or the Pac-12 could best withstand a lengthy legal proceeding, Casano notes that the Mountain West is eager to settle the case and needs cash to honor its commitments to the remaining schools. I reached out to some lawyers who specialize in antitrust cases. One of them told me it is very difficult to convince a judge to dismiss a case this early, so the Pac-12 knows they are in a stronger position. That's why the Pac-12 publicly says it's interested in talking about a settlement with the Mountain West, but isn't jumping up and down and eager to get mediation scheduled. Okay, so I want to talk about what we have recently heard here at Peek Around the Corner. For the first time in months, we are talking about the Pac-12. And the reason why I have not been talking about it in our monologue is because we've gotten no information. None. I've asked, I've poked and prodded, but the answer always came back to me, the Pac-12 isn't ready yet. The Pac-12 isn't ready yet. Yeah, they're talking to people, but they're not ready yet. There is nothing really going on. But now they're ready. And what we have heard here at Peek Around the Corner, and what everyone else is pretty much reporting, is that Texas State stands alone as the candidate most likely to become a Pac-12 member. PATC has learned, peek around the corner, has learned that Texas State fits into basically every possible scenario. However, it doesn't quite match what John Casano is reporting. The Memphis look, I was surprised. I mean, so the information we just received, we cannot shut the door on Memphis quite yet. But it's not going to be... Memphis and Tulane they're in the same tier. I mean, they are in this together. They're either going or staying together. But it is very difficult to see that happening. Very difficult to see Memphis and Tulane going together to the Pac-12 is what we've been told. But the conversations have not stopped. Now, I know there's been public comments about Memphis. I think the athletic director said we've only had one conversation. We've been told just not today, but yesterday that no, these talks have been going on. So the Memphis-Tulane scenario is unlikely. Something that the Pac-12 would love to get done. If they're going to do that traveling, it's not going to be to South Florida. It's going to be to Memphis and Tulane. But we don't believe Memphis and Tulane is going to want to do the same thing. We were told yesterday that it's almost impossible for Memphis to move their basketball program out west like that. It's almost inconceivable. So for us here at Peek Around the Corner, Memphis and Tulane, while they're the top tier in value, they're not the top tier in likelihood. In what we've been told. So we are basically down to 3 different scenarios here at Peek Around the Corner. One is Texas State goes alone, which is the easiest, which satisfies what the Pac-12 needs to do. What they need to accomplish. They need another full member. As everybody has been reporting, Texas State is the most willing potential partner, and that goes a long ways. The other so that's one scenario. The other scenario is Texas State and UNLV. We're not quite able yet to completely shut the door down on UNLV. It's unlikely. It's unlikely. They've already signed a grant of rights. It's going to be quite expensive, but it has to do with the mediation between the Mountain West Conference and the Pac-12. If UNLV becomes part of the mediation, somehow, some way, UNLV is part of the deal. They go to the Pac-12, and the Mountain West can get maybe a little bit more than $150 million out of it. Whatever. If UNLV gets put into the mediation, UNLV might be willing. It might happen. Very unlikely. Been told yesterday, very unlikely. But we would rank UNLV more likely than a Memphis and a Tulane. The other scenario in which John Casano does not put on here is the Texas State not going alone to the Pac-12. Texas State not going with UNLV, but Texas State goes with North Texas. Texas State and North Texas is a scenario that we were sort of told about a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't enough. And then yesterday it was repeated to us by a by somebody, of course, has been with us for a long time. So PATC, the most likely scenario is Texas State goes alone. The second likeliest scenario is Texas State with North Texas. The third most likely scenario is UNLV and Texas State. Somehow UNLV becomes a part of it. We did not hear anything on UTSA. Nothing on Nevada, nothing on Rice. So the most likely scenario, and we got it up here, Texas State goes alone to the Pac-12. The second likely possible scenario is a Texas State, North Texas, and we called it earlier the Texas two-step. And then the third one is UNLV somehow, some way in the mediation talks goes to the Pac-12 with the Texas State and whatever, but that is a long shot. So Texas State going alone or Texas State with North Texas. The people that talked to us yesterday said they were very clear. One, the talks continued between the parties of the Pac-12 and those most valuable brands in the AAC. Number two, they don't believe it's going to happen. They don't believe it's going to happen. They don't believe the Pac-12 is going to be successful. But they've been working on this. They've continued to work on this. They've been shooting high for the longest time. They really had nothing to lose. But now they got to get something done. It sounds like the media rights agreement is going to be announced, signed, sealed, and delivered sometime in the month of April. Texas State looks like they're going to be part of the new Pac-12. This is the peak around the corner. Other people have been saying it for months, so we were not the first. We are definitely probably the last. But we finally got some credible information from the people that we talked to. Texas State alone, number one. Texas State with North Texas, number two. And there is this, and look, I became friends with a couple UNLV Rebel guys I talk with. And boy, everybody wishes that they could put the UNLV thing to bed. To put it to bed. They're not going to the Pac-12. They're staying in the Mountain West. But we can't quite put it to bed quite yet. There's still something percolating out there. A long shot, but a live shot. So, in our live show tonight, April 1st, we're out of March. April 1st, we talked about BYU Jake Retzlaff's dream to get to the Heisman ceremony. We talked about the big injury at Indiana, wide receiver transfer from Michigan, out for the year, Mr. Morris. We also talked about the 4-8 hearing April 8th. We talked about the 16-year-old, Demetrius Samuel Jr., a likely starter. Can you imagine that? A head coach coming out, Fran Brown, saying that a 16-year-old is probably going to be your likely starter at cornerback. He'll be 17 years old at the time. And he's going to play probably two ways, both ways. Holy smokes. And then we finally talked about the Pac-12 expansion candidates here at Peek Around the Corner. We have finally received information that we believe we could go with tonight. The phone lines are now wide open. Wide open. 763-260-1333. Talk about anything in college football that your heart desires. Is your starter quarterback? Could you picture your starting quarterback being invited to New York City for the Heisman ceremony? Can you picture it? Can you see it? Is it going to happen? Let me know on your phone calls. The phone lines are wide open. Holy smokes. Bill G does it again. Helping us keep the lights on. Holy smokes. 5 gifted memberships. T-Mac. Lewis Pop. Haven't seen Lewis in a while. Eagle Eye. Rowan Phillips. Joseph Lindley. You've all been gifted a membership by Bill G. When you get the opportunity, please say thank you to Bill G in the chat room for his incredible generosity. All of you are hereby officially knighted Cloak and Dagger, which means you can go to our library of episodes for members only, Early P Cloak and Dagger. Go check them out. Thank you, Bill G. Unbelievable. Thank you so much, sir. Very humbled by your incredible generosity. Wow. Las Cruces to Master. The Pac-12 we did not hear about New Mexico State. 16 is way too young. Don't think it's ever been done. AAR. He's going to be 17 by this time. I think he's going to be 17 pretty soon here. But he's 16 years old. Spring ball. Likely start. What? Even if the head coach is thinking in his mind, after talking to his secondary coach, even if you're thinking in your mind, this 16-year-old's got a good chance to be our starter, why would you say that out loud? I don't know if I would want to put that in the 16-year-old's head that he's the likely starter. But then again, the way the other players are talking about him, maybe it's just too damn obvious. Maybe it's so obvious. I mean, Fran Brown says that they're going to play him both ways. That means they probably already got him lined up in the slot position, doing some end runs, they probably got some packages. They're just, unbelievable. Probably an incredible talent. Stephen McNeely, Greg, what will be the biggest drama in the PATC theater this summer? Hold on 1 second.
Call from
Dave B.
Dave B, hold on for 1 second, please. Is that okay?
You got it. Thank you, Greg.
I appreciate it. Stephen McNeely, a member for 16 16 months. Holy smokes. You are hereby knighted Cloak and Dagger once again. Greg, what will be the biggest drama in the PATC theater this summer? Well, it's going to be either the ACC implosion or private capital, private equity money coming in. Now, I still believe that third-party money, private equity, private capital is going to come in at some level. But we've also made it clear we did not think it was going to come in before I other stuff has to get done. Like this House versus NCAA settlement has to happen April 7th. So we do not imagine it happening early in 2025. We do think it's going to happen. And of course, because of public reports, people can put their chips in the middle of the table and say what's going to happen in the Big 12 first. It's going to happen in the Big 10 first. It's going to happen in the AAC first. It's going to happen in the Mountain West first. We don't know. We have no idea. We don't know when it's coming in. We don't know how it's coming in. We don't know how it's going to be structured. We have no idea. There's a whole bunch of NDAs out there. All we can tell you, we're going to do the best we can. We gave you the peak late last year when not a whole lot of people were talking about it. We said that it's coming in at an institutional or at a conference level. Private cap, we called it private equity at that time, private capital, whatever, third party, big money on the table. That is going to be huge when that hits. I mean, the psychological blow, the implications of when one of these conferences signs a deal, and I don't care if it's a small one like the Big Ten, it's gonna crack the door wide open. I mean, we're going to be arguing about it. We're going to go, this is good, this is not good, blah, blah, blah. They've sold their soul. They're getting this money. Is another conference going to follow up on that? It's going to be drama, baby. You're talking about the biggest drama story. That's the most likely drama that's going to hit. However, no matter how big that drama is, if the ACC actually implodes this year, that would be the biggest drama story. I haven't really caught. If I had to guess, speculation time, we're in the golden blue dude speculation zone. If I had to guess, it ain't happening this year. It's happening either next year. But I don't know that. I mean, I'm just speculating. I haven't gotten good wind of anything that's really, 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 really happening right now. But that would be the biggest drama. The most likely biggest drama is the private capital. Dave B, thanks for your patience. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Oh, Greg, thanks so much for of all the articles you could have chosen. That's a pretty entertaining one. I mean, I hadn't caught that when I was nosing around the internet this morning.
Which one was that? The BYU?
Yeah, it was. It's just great. I mean, yeah. It's a very, very long shot, but I do love the kid for that. So, which I know you do as well.
Yes. Yep. The kids, look, you want to bet against them, go ahead. But you know what? He had a lot of people betting against him when he was on his second junior college team in 2 years. And then he finally got the break. And look where he is now. Holy smokes.
Yeah, and it would surely take, even for a playoff spot this year, it'd probably take 12-0 or 11-1 for BYU. Their non-conference game, Greg the Gold pegged it, 17th out of 17 for Stanford, and that's at home. So it's pretty much a cakewalk until the conference season. So they're really going to have to go, I think, 8-1 in conference, 3-0 non-conference. But if they can, comes down to the big games on TV.
Yep.
So,
yeah, beautiful, Dave B.
Yeah, I don't have a lot else to add, but love the show. Love when I see the pop-up notifications come up on my YouTube. And thanks to all the folks out there who've gifted me memberships in the last little while. Yes. I'll have to return the favor in the near future.
Yes.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you for saying that, sir. Appreciate it, Dave B. Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
Beautiful. Yeah, again, thank you for all the generosity in this PATC family. Bill G with his 5 gifted memberships. It really is something. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you so very much. Vox Quindaro, thick skin, check. Gold and blue dude. I think about him a lot here. I don't remember the day he passed away, but it was in late March or early April. Chris Petrie. So this is the time of year I always think about him. That's just how it is. There are other people that have passed away in my life that I think about them at the time of their passing. I mean, I think about them all the time. I think about my dad all the time, but in September, man, he is on my mind. He is on my mind. Royal Pain, the SEC Big Ten breakaway is going to make it all very odd eventually. There is a chance of that happening. There is a chance of that happening 5 or 6 years from now. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen. Boy, I hope it doesn't happen. As a fan, I hope it doesn't happen. But I think there is a chance of that. I would give that a decent chance of happening, not the chalk, not the favorite. And of course, I don't believe in the Super League. I believe that would be the Super League, but not these other. I do not think the SEC is going to break up their Olympic sports. I don't think the Big Ten is going to break up their. Boy, I'm hearing a lot about that lately. Holy smokes. The Big Ten ain't going to break up their baseball, softball, basketball, or not, it wouldn't be basketball, their hockey, whatever. This stuff ain't happening, guys. Maybe the G5, G6 conferences will come together and say, look, we got our conferences for football, but maybe we'll regionalize our Olympic sports. But even that, it would be difficult to do. I don't know. If the Big 12 and the ACC wants to get together, and I don't think they do. I don't think they do at all. But if they want to get together and have regionalize everything and come together and be a super league, they should go for it. They should go for it. Or, and I said this yesterday on my live show, do the crazy scenario where you do your Super League in 2030-31. Everyone's talking about a Super League. Do a Super League between the Big 12 and the ACC. Take the top of the ACC, top of the Big 12. Big 12 schools are no longer going to be wrapped up in a gore. The ACC is only going to $75 million to get out of. Top of one conference, top of the other. Do your Super League, like everyone is saying that the Big Ten and the SEC should do. And I don't think they will. Ryan Brooks, Greg, is there room on Tampa Lightning bandwagon if you are looking for a winning? No. Well, maybe, but I'm not. A Minnesotan does not jump from the Wild or the Gophers. That doesn't happen. That is not even, that could not possibly happen. This is Loserville City, and I am the mayor, but I'm not jumping ship. No way. I am ready to get hurt once again in the NHL playoffs and again in the college hockey playoffs next year, over and over and over again until they put me 6 feet under. I'm willing to be hurt again. But I ain't jumping ship. Phone lines are wide open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give us a call. I'm looking at college football news. Again, that injury. Look, boy, oh boy, we got snow coming down in Minnesota. Do not like it. Do not like it. Again, Tyler Morris, transfer, Michigan wide receiver. He finally got some playing time at Michigan last year. They did not have a quarterback who could get him the ball, but Tyler Morris has some juice. He caught over 20-some balls last year, transfers to Indiana, and he's out for the season. Non-contact injury. Non-contact injury. We talked about John Casano. He's got 3 tiers. Possible expansion candidates for the Pac-12. Tier 1, UNLV, Memphis, Texas State. Tier 2, Tulane, UTSA. Tier 3, Nevada, Rice, South Florida, North Texas. PATC learned yesterday that primarily it's Texas State alone is the most likely. Texas State with a Texas two-step with North Texas is the second most likely. And we also were told we can't quite put the UNLV will stay with the Mountain West. We can't quite put it to bed. We can't quite get there yet. Still some percolation about UNLV. It's a long shot. A long shot that they would go to the Pac-12 at this time, but they may be part of the mediation. Maybe some money will slide hands. Maybe something is going to happen. And if that happens, then UNLV, Texas State would probably be your Pac-12 new entries into the Pac-12. But the most likely is the Bobcats alone. Our information is a little bit different than John Casano. And we are definitely not the first ones on Texas State. This is the first peek around the corner reporting that we have done in the Pac-12 expansion for months. Because we were not getting anything. Because there was nothing to give. There was no information. We were told that they were not there yet. They're not there. Now the Pac-12 is ready. According to what we've been told, and Texas State is primed in any scenario. And the most likely one is they come alone. Skaven, yes. Greg, they will never be the Wild. They are the Minnesota North Stars. Oh, Skaven, yes. You've just cut open a scab. You've just cut open a scab. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Call from
Rick.
Rick, can you hold on for just one moment?
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. I just got to get this out of I just got to get this out of my system. Skaven, yes. Look, the Minnesota North Stars is the team I grew up with. I remember when they surprised everybody and they went to the Stanley Cup Championship against one of those great Pittsburgh Penguin teams that won it 4 years in a row. And the North Stars absolutely got dominated. I remember Dino Ciccarelli, Bob O'Prey. God, I'm having a hard time with names. It don't matter. I grew up watching the North Stars. Dino Ciccarelli was my favorite player. But one of the things I find interesting is, for whatever reason, I love the yellow and the green combination for uniforms. a little bit of gold, a little bit of yellow, whatever you want to call it, and green. I love the North Stars uniforms. I love that green. Absolutely loved it. And I loved it on the Oakland A's. And the North Stars are no more, and the A's are leaving. So for whatever reason, Greg the Cooler also affects uniforms. The ones I like, they disappear, including the Montreal Expos. Rick, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hi, Greg. I'm thinking a little bit about the North Carolina Tar Heels and what they're really thinking about right now. Is it a pretty safe? Is it safe to say that they're definitely leaving? It's just a matter of which one of the two that they're going to pick.
They're leaving. They're
Okay.
leaving, and I would be I would take the biggest L in college football YouTube history if they were not leaving. If they're in the ACC in 2033, I would shut this thing down. But, yeah, they're leaving, Rick. They're leaving,
Okay.
and I think...
So
Go ahead.
yeah, no, I'm just trying to come up with a list of a few things that they're pondering in their decision making. Certainly, the love of the South and the lean for the being in the SEC. I get that. Their academics and maybe a tilt to the Big Ten. That's another factor. And you've mentioned before the politics, how important the politics are within the UC system. But right now, other than the things I've just mentioned, what are they considering? What do they have to resolve internally in order to pull the trigger?
Okay. You know what? And I don't talk about this enough, and I should probably talk about it more, but one of those things now, I would assume, when you spend over $600,000 at the time it was reported on the Carolina Blue matter, that you've had extensive talks within the leadership at UNC Chapel Hill, correct? So they've had to game this out at some point. I think one of those things, besides the political hurdle, and again, in the last couple of months, I've been told, and I've repeated it here, that it is something that they're going to be able to. It's something that they're going to be able to. That hurdle is something they're going to be able to jump over. Sounds like, as long as they keep North Carolina State from falling off the cliff. It's the money, Rick. It's the money. It's the actual money. And I want to add this thing, and I've been told this a couple times, and I don't think I've said this enough. Be it 165, be it 147, be it 129, whatever that money number is when they pay it, that's still a lot of money, right?
Yep.
And how they pay it can have a big influence on where they're going, right? Like, how they're going to pay it is going to have who's paying it, who's writing the check. Is it coming from an auxiliary fund? Is it going to come from some made-up created endowment? Is it going to be coming from partially from ESPN? Is it going to partially come from SEC? Is it partially going to come from the Big Ten? Is it partially going to come from Fox? Fox has also given money. We got to remember this. Fox has given money to Big Ten, Rutgers, and Maryland, not just Big Ten. So Who writes the check? Who offers North, like, we're going to help you. We're going to do this internally or externally, or a combination of both. That is going to be a great influencer, obviously, on where they're going. So
wow, that's some great information right there.
Well, yeah, and I have failed to really talk about it because it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, and even though you and I, Rick, and Wild Jude has done a great job at College Football Mafia show, and Nathan Brown and Moen to show that they believe, and I believe along with them, that North Carolina comes out ahead. The earlier they do it, the earlier they leave. If they go to the SEC, they actually come out ahead. The earlier they leave, the more money they will make in this next 10-year period. So the $165 million should not be a barrier, but you still got to come up with the $165. Now, Rick, there's a whole nother thing, and I'm sorry, I'm going to let you have the floor here, but you have opened up a vein here, okay? Which you often do with the great questions. The other, there's a couple great unknowns. One is, and let's pretend, we're just pretending here, that North Carolina decides, we're getting out of here. Here's $165 million. The great unknown, Rick, is, does the whole $165 million have to be paid up front? Or is there some sort of like distribution of it, like a plan to pay it? Or is there, North Carolina, you're going to be in the ACC for another, you're going to be in there for another year. We are going to take your TV revenue money and NCAA, we're going to take all this conference payout that we normally would give you, and we're going to keep it as a conference and subtract that from the bill you pay us once you leave the ACC restaurant, right? So there's a couple different ways you can do this. I happen to believe, Rick, and I might be wrong, I might end up being wrong on this, but I think you got to come up with the whole 165 a little bit at the time or a little bit after you filed that notice of withdrawal. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I think you're spot on. It's almost like buying a house. There are different ways you can finance it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're going to be putting down the check for 165 to the seller, the ACC being the seller, and they don't really care how you finance it, as long as they get the check for 165 or less as the years go on. No, that's very interesting. I don't know if that would seem to make it a tad more favorable to the Big Ten, since they had experience in giving loans to Rutgers and Maryland. Because Texas and Oklahoma didn't receive a loan from the SEC, did they?
Yeah, we know that the Big Ten has the last time it was reported, the Big Ten had $450 million cash on hand, clear. They have $450 million as a conference, clear from any. They have it on hand, cash on hand. How much does the SEC have? Is it more or less? I don't know. So these the Big Ten is absolutely loaded. So they're able to do stuff here. But then again, I think for them to spend the money, I think the schools would have to vote for it. I think when they gave the loan to Maryland and Rutgers, I think all the Big Ten institutions had to vote for it and all that stuff. Now,
I also agree with.
Go ahead.
I also agree with you that doing it early, and I'll keep the same scenario that I gave with purchasing a home, purchasing a house. That doing it earlier, the buyout, in the long run will wind up being a winner move because you've gotten the property earlier and the price is going to go up, and you're making an investment. You're investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that it makes sense to me that they would want to leave earlier. And you bring up a good point about. I'm sure that the Tar Heels would have to put in some of their own money, if you will, the down payment. They might have to put in, $50 million, and then finance the balance with the Big Ten or the SEC.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is boy.
Now I got the ACC bylaw up, and we've looked at this before. 1.4.5 withdrawal of members. To withdraw from the conference, a member must file an official notice of withdrawal with each of the members and the commissioner on or before August 15th for the withdrawal to be effective June 30th of the following year. So if North Carolina wanted to play in the SEC or the Big Ten in 2026, they're going to have to file a notice of withdrawal before August 15th of this year. And then July 1st of next year, they'd be a member of that conference, SEC or the Big Ten. Upon official notice of withdrawal, the member will be subject to withdrawal payment as liquidated damages in the amount equal to 3 times the total operating budget of the conference. Now we can, none of that is no longer valid because they have the number. So we can read it as, upon official notice of withdrawal, the member will be subject to a withdrawal payment of $165 million if they're going to do it before August 15th. On or before August 15th of this year. Okay? The conference may offset the amount of such payment against any distributions otherwise due to such a member for any conference year. Any remaining amount due shall be paid by the withdrawing member within 30 days after the effective date of withdrawal. The effective date of withdrawal, I believe, Rick, would be July 30th of the following year, correct?
I agree.
Because July 3rd, July 1st would be, or you can, so July 30th or August 1st of the next year, I think all the money has to be paid.
I agree.
So, but I don't know that for sure. Now, Expansion Crush is saying that Maryland paid in installments. And that was when Maryland left, they just had to pay an exit fee. And it happened to end up being around $32 million, $31 million, somewhere. It was supposed to be like $50 million, but they negotiated it down to like 60%. And there was no grant of rights. There was no penalty. There was no 3 years of operation penalty. None of that, because the universities voted on that after Maryland left the ACC. So I don't know if that affected anything about installments or having to pay it all up at once. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, that's the way I remember it too.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just we're just talking about the financial dealings. There's still the political and the
Yes.
everything else. Yeah, they. Well, at least you've got a new date to put on your calendar.
Yeah.
August 15th.
Well, yeah, we've had that on the calendar. Next week we
Okay.
got April 7th, April 8th, now and April 9th for things that are happening. But you know, Rick, going back to the situation of how is that 165, 147, 129, how is that money being paid? Could be a direct, could have a big influence on where they are going, right? Who writes the check might have the power to say where they're going, internally, externally. But we were talking about North Carolina, but I'm thinking more like the institution that I come up with when I think about this is Miami, an independent. What is their strategy if they get an opportunity? If the Big Ten says, okay, we're going to the next level with you, next stage with you, Miami, how they're going to come with that money. Then you're thinking about a Florida State and a Clemson. Florida State, what if they have options in this? What if they get an option? And what if the Big Ten comes around and the SEC smells that and they say, no, we can't let this happen? Does who write the check in Tallahassee? Is that going to have, that's going to have an influence on where they decide to go if they have that option? So we're talking about North Carolina here, but when people are thinking about it, they might want to think about all these schools in the ACC. Who's writing the check could have a lot of influence on where they're going to end up going. Who has that power, that the stroke of the pen power to write the check could have a lot to do with where they end up going. Anyways, Rick, go ahead and finish it up.
No, that's pretty much the end of it. I was just trying to get into North Carolina's mindset to figure out what their short-term, mid-term, and long-term plans might be.
Sure.
And it'll probably all be like all of us in purchasing a home. It's all contingent on how much financing you can get from which bank at what interest rate, to buy which home. Are you gonna? Because you wanna make the right choice.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You got it, buddy. Appreciate it. Oh my God! Whoops. Sorry, Rick. I hit the wrong. Rick, I apologize. I hit the oh my God sounder instead of the crowd cheering. I apologize, Rick. Thanks for the great call once again. JMath 1978. Do people honestly believe all these moves are going to be made in college football and our country is falling apart? You know what? I don't talk politics on this college football YouTube channel. If I did, I would get all Republicans and all Democrats and all independents mad at me, just like I do college football. I will say that what is going on in the world could have great impact on what the decisions are made in college football. Obviously, what goes on in Capitol Hill, what decisions they make when it comes to employment for student athletes, or the economy. There is a boy, there's a lot of things going on, right? You got China knocking on the door of Taiwan. You've got Iran. Boy, there's a lot of big stuff going on. And that could all have a chilling effect. A chilling effect on the economics. We could head into an incredibly tight media market 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 6 months from now. Or we could be going in, or the opposite. If for whatever reason we go back into a golden age and we got big economic growth and national sponsors want to spend money on live content, sport content like they've been doing for the last couple of decades, well, and then you got pharmaceutical companies who may not be able to put their national advertisers during these sports games anymore, and they spend a lot of money on advertising for the professional franchises and professional leagues. And so what happens around us does affect our beloved college football. So maybe these moves don't happen. Maybe the SEC turtles up for good reason. Maybe the Big Ten turtles up for good reason. Or maybe the opposite. I don't know. Maybe they say, wow, maybe this is going to hurry up North Carolina's timeline. We better get in now. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Put that on my taglines. People want entertainment when times are bad. But then again, people always thinks times are bad, right? Every year for the last 30 years, people think times are bad. I don't know. The war drums are beating all over the place, though. Boy, it's we could be heading toward some difficult times here. That is for sure. Bo Weevil's in the house. Bo Weevil, Clemson. Expansion crush, Indiana Hoosiers. We talked about Indiana earlier today. Suffered a major injury. Tyler Morris out for the year. Transfer from Michigan. That is going to hurt. Okay, we're going to shut it down tonight. We've been on the air for an hour and 37 minutes. We just want to do a live show. I have been running late all day today, so this live show went off a little bit later than usual. There may be a time where I do late night live shows. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But there may be a time where I significantly move the time of our live shows going forward. Not yet, not now, but in the future. So keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. I want to thank Bill G. and Stephen McNeely for their donations, helping us keep the lights on. I very much appreciate it. The great phone call, Rick, everybody, I want to thank you all. And again, it's going to be a very busy April. So buckle up, brace for impact. Texas State, clearly tier 1 of the possible expansion candidates for the Pac-12. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.